Hi, everybody. I hope all of you are still doing well. I know I keep repeating myself every time I come onto the Stay at Home, Stay Entertained forum or platform. But, it's very important for all of us to feel safe, to feel, very alive. And I hope if you all are stepping out of the house, you are masking up. I'm sure you guys have been reading that now it is also said that you should look at double masking. I think it's important to do our best and do our bit. And more importantly, it's now time to get vaccinated. So I know there's news about COVID being, the website crashing and all of that, but stay on it. Make sure you get yourself or get an appointment for yourselves, and please make sure you vaccinate. We all need to get back to our lives. We all need our artists to come and perform for us to go and see them perform live. I think that's the only thing that should guide us. But yes, in the meantime, we want to entertain you. We want to make sure that you feel calm and peaceful while you are at home. And as I said every time, I feel extremely grateful that the artists, do this for us. And today we have someone who's actually got one of the most serene voices. She's got a beautiful tonality, and she has the ability of bringing calmness just through her voice. And before we can even hear her, I'd love to introduce her and bring her on board. Welcome, Shivani Vaswani.
Thank you so much, Somini, for this warm welcome.
So happy to
Thank
see
you.
you here, and it's been a while, but I'm so happy that we were able to get you on board.
Thank
Before
you.
we
It's my
start
pleasure.
any conversation, as you said and as we spoke, I think we need some element of calmness, and I don't think that comes without music. So the stage is yours, please.
Thank you. Thank you. This is an ode to Mother Earth, and I think this is the need of the hour. So I will just begin with this.
Yes.
हे जननी जगहारिणी करुणामयी करुणामयी जगतारिणी हे जननी जननी दुर्गेश्वरी दुर्गेश्वरी कालिका महिषासुर मर्दिनी जननी जगतारिणी तु लक्ष्मी तु लक्ष्मी शुभ कारिणी जया जया शारदा हे जननी जगतारिणी करुणामयी करुणामयी जगतारिणी जननी जननी जय मां 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 जय मां. Thank you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I said I am getting goosebumps. I mean, that was beautiful. That was really beautiful. And like I said, I think the serenity of the voice and just being able to, I mean, I felt I was in another zone altogether. So, but it's amazing how, I always look up to artists who especially can sing very effortlessly, and even if they are singing something which is so, deep. And tell me, when you started your singing, I mean, you've obviously been born into a musician family. Your father, Ghanshyam ji, is very well known. Meenakshi ji, that's your mother's name, right? Um,
Yes.
yes, and your brother, you said your brother is also, programs for Bollywood. Uh, were, was this a kind of, as they say, mahal that made you get into music? Or, did you ever feel like a lot of kids, they say, "Arey, hame nahi karna, hame jaake bahar khelna hai." How was your, how was your childhood?
So, so for me, actually, music was always a very inherent part of my upbringing and my being, so to say. So it was never something that I looked at as something separate. Because the whole atmosphere was such that we would be listening to classical and ghazals and a lot of music, and so it was part of our atmosphere and our what do you say, the way we would even think would be like, I would be thinking of couplets and ghazals, if I had to express myself at times. And so it was in my genes, I guess, and I was lucky to be born in a family of musicians. And while growing up, I would just listen and I would keep singing with my mom when she would do her riyaz. And it's much later, in fact, that I formally started to train. So yes, I had my childhood, a very normal one, but
Okay.
I guess the atmosphere was such that it was never seen as something, different. It was so part
Right.
of the whole upbringing that
Right.
it felt very normal.
Right. No, I think, I mean, that's the beauty also today. If you see, there was a time when any kind of art form was considered to be a hobby. And, you would always, as a parent, you would hear them say, nahi, ya to engineering karna hai, ya ye karna hai. Of course, in your case, coming from a musician family, I don't think that pressure would have ever been there, right? I mean, it would have
Well,
been the
well,
opposite. But,
I did, experience that a bit because my mom
okay,
was very skeptical, me
okay,
entering the music field. So she said, I've done it and I've been there, and I think you should just kind of, so that I was in the corporate world for good 20-25 years. So
correct.
I did that. And then I realized that no, this is not where my, heart is, and this is not my
Right,
soul calling. So that's when
right.
I kind of completely took a break from that and came into music.
But I have to ask you this, Shivani. I mean, most of the artists that we've also been talking to, especially the most unprepared scenario that we are in right now in the last year, and we don't know how long this is going to continue. Do you really think being a musician in terms of your bread and butter in today's day and age is something that an artist can do? Hello,
Yeah,
can
sorry,
you
you
hear me?
froze in between. Yeah,
Oh,
I can
okay.
hear
No.
you.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
asking that in today, considering the way our life has become in the last year and a half, and I'm sure it's going to take us at least another year before we can get back to a sense of routine. Uh, do you really feel artists should start thinking of, having maybe a day job or not looking at their music as their bread and butter? Do you feel that?
Honestly, a lot of artists are going through a lot of tough times, and
Yeah,
we are fortunate that we have a place in Bombay, and we are, sort of secure in that sense. But I think most of the fraternity, who is in the phase of, the middle, the artists who are not right there, so they are
right.
struggling, and it's a very, very tough time, and I'm sure each one is thinking of an alternate career, and most of them have started teaching online.
Right.
And because even the online the online shows that we do, they are like FOC, they are not, because even they can't afford, because right now there's no audience who's going to pay for an online concert. So
Yeah.
yes, I think a lot of us are struggling with that, and a lot of people unfortunately had to even pack their bags and go back from Bombay. Leaving
Yes.
their careers, leaving their dreams behind, because they couldn't afford to be here. It's an
Yeah.
expensive city at the end of the day. So how do you survive when there are no shows, there are no recordings happening? So yes, it
Yeah.
is a very, very tough time. In fact, I keep wondering that why is nobody doing anything for this community of artists, because they are the
Right.
ones who are taking the biggest blow. There are no
Yeah.
concerts, and we don't even know when the concerts will happen. So
Yeah.
I think through your show, I would like to reach out to the authorities to, really kind of think about the artists who are really struggling right now to
Yeah.
even, get a meal or to be able to sustain themselves in a city like Bombay.
Right. No, I mean, without a doubt, and I think it's a struggle even for entities like us to be able to get that kind of attention from the authorities. I mean, we're seeing that just in the last 1 month, the mess that's going on, and the irony is, while the artist industry or the music industry, I won't say music industry, but the artist industry has not been recognized in the industry. You even hear the event side calling out and saying, recognize us and think of us, we also need to be kept in that MSME kind of model.
Yes,
But yes,
true.
I mean, I think, like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. I think musicians also, there were some that were already going into this thing that ki hum compose bhi karenge, hum likhenge bhi. And, I think we were already seeing a phase where artists were not, focusing only on being vocalists. They were kind of becoming a one-man show. I think
Yeah.
that's now becoming the need of the hour in that sense, right?
Yes, but even then, I mean, with so much of talent and then doing everything yourself, how do you reach
Yeah,
out and how do you kind of, get that
yeah,
compensation for it? How do you
yeah,
survive? So your
yeah,
creativity also gets blocked after a point. If there is no
yeah,
motivation, there is no inspiration, and you're thinking of your next bread and butter, your next meal,
correct,
how do you even
correct.
focus on it? So
Yeah,
yes, it's a tough time, and just praying, for everything to settle and things to really look up, especially for the musicians, because nobody
yeah.
is thinking of them honestly right now.
Yeah. No, I think that the very important thing is, I like, just now the way you sang. I mean, to be honest, I would love to hear you sing, even if you were performing digitally. And I think it is important for platforms to start creating those avenues where people can pay and watch. Right? It's a
Yes,
culture that needs to be built. I don't think people are
absolutely.
averse to spending, but they are averse to having a crappy experience. So I think,
Yeah,
if the artist is doing their bit through their talent, I think the platforms also need to play a role in terms of creating that ecosystem, where the artist can be able to monetize the talent, and the consumer also is feeling responsible to pay for it.
absolutely.
Of course, this is, as everything, as everybody says, it is work in progress, and it's something that we have to build on. But, we can keep talking, but I think you're here. We'd love to hear another song from you. So let's hear another one before we take it further.
Sure. So the next one that I would like to sing is a Sufi.
Okay.
Sufi song, and basically it's written by Kabir, and
Okay.
so I'll be blending a few couplets from your and Kabir's couplets, and then also some of Amir Khusro's couplets. So it's like a medley of both. So here I
Okay. Please go ahead.
am. Yeah. लाले मेरे लाल की जित देखूं तित लाल लाली देखन मैं गई तो मैं भी हो गई लाल केसरिया बालवा आवोनी पधारो भार देश केसरिया बालवा आवोनी पधारो भार देश रैन न जागे जागे ना रैन न जागे रैन न जागे जागे ना रैन न जागे लगी बिना रैन ना जागे कोई ओ हो जागे जिसनू आप जगावे ओ दो जन जागे कोई लगी बिना रैन ना जागे कोई लगी बिना रैन ना जागे कोई पहला पहर हर कोई जागे पहला पहर हर कोई जागे दूजा ना जागे कोई लगी बिना रैन ना जागे कोई लगी बिना रैन ना जागे कोई कागा सब तन खाइयो मोरा चुन चुन खाइयो मास हो कागा सब तन खाइयो मोरा चुन चुन खाइयो मास दोने नामत खाइयो मोहे पिया मिलन की आस मोसे नैना 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 मोसे नैना 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 मोसे नैना मोसे नैना मोसे नैना मोसे नैना 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 मोसे नैना 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 मोसे नैना मोसे नैना मोसे नैना ओ छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मोसे नैना मिलाए के छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मोसे नैना मिलाए के 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 बात अगम कह दी रे मुझसे नैना मिलाई के बात अगम कह दी रे मुझसे नैना मिलाई के छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुझसे नैना मिलाई के. That
That
was a
was
brief.
no, I
Thank
loved it.
you.
And I love the medley because, one just kind of blended into the other. So it was really lovely.
Yeah.
Shivani, how much of riyaz do you do every day?
Well, honestly speaking, जितना करना चाहिए उतना नहीं करती हूँ. But yes, I try my best to do maximum riyaz because I think that's what keeps you, getting better and growing. So even if there are no concerts happening or something, it's a little difficult to kind of get yourself motivated when you don't have something to look forward to. But I think what
Right.
I try to keep myself motivated is with my growth. So each
Correct.
time I sing, I try to kind of grow a bit more, in the same song, in the same, genre. So yeah, so I try my best to do my riyaz every day.
What I find very interesting is we've met so many pop artists who also, do take training, vocal training very seriously. And that possibly is also something that they've realized that, you can't just depend so much on technology. And if you want to stay here, for a long time, you really need to put that effort. What
Yes.
do you think of the way technology has been supporting, a lot of vocalists? Has What's your take on that?
So honestly, I don't think there is a substitute for training as such. They are definitely
Yeah,
two very different things. But yes, unfortunately, a lot of artists feel it's a substitute for getting trained. So
yeah,
I personally feel that's not a substitute. And what we kind of train ourselves with and music, it's a sadhana, and we need to kind of, वो बोलते हैं एक आग का दरिया है और डूब के जाना है. So we have to go through that whole process of learning and drilling and
right,
grilling ourselves. Yes, technology. I feel it's an add-on. It's adding a lot of value. I wouldn't
right,
take away from that, but I feel totally depending on that is not right, because as an artist, then what is
right,
my
yeah,
contribution to my music
correct,
or to my
correct.
singing? So if everything is going to be auto-tuned, then in fact I get very offended at times if I have to use it. I'll tell my dad, whenever we are dubbing, I'll be like, nahi, 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 jab tak theek nahi aaye, you do it. I don't mind. But
Simple.
I somehow I get very, I feel offended if I have to to do a autocorrect.
Absolutely. I think,
Mhm.
it's come down to actually a very individual approach, right? You have to
Yes.
individually feel, no, I need to put that. I mean,
Responsible.
correct, responsible, absolutely. But you've done shows, you've performed even for Khazana and lots of concerts, and then you've also done studio work. Where do you feel more comfort?
In fact, both I really enjoy equally.
Okay,
Performing in front of the live audience is a different high, and recording something and then kind of having it, for lifetime recorded is another experience. So both have their own charm for me, and I thoroughly enjoy both spaces. So while both
yeah,
spaces are very different, for an artist to be able to perform on stage is a different ball game, and in front of the mic it's a completely different scenario. But I
yeah.
really really enjoy both spaces, and I'm like longing to be back on stage and back in the studio.
Yeah, I remember. I won't mention her name. I mean, she's a darling, but she used to struggle in the studio because she couldn't handle that click that used to come, and she used to say, "Ye
Oh,
nikalo, let me just perform live. आप इसको capture कर दो जैसे करना है." But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
like
I
I
guess,
said, yeah.
yeah,
They're very
but
different things. Some people excel in, maybe one. But I thoroughly enjoy both, and I try my best to kind of, because as a performer, you're also interacting with live audience, and you are
Right.
kind of, it's very spontaneous, it's very in the moment. In
You
a
get the
recording, you
energy
can
in
keep
front of
redoing, yeah, and the energy is so high over there. And over here,
correct.
you're in your case, and you're doing. You can even do a retake and stuff like that. But there is no retake, so both have their own charm.
Correct. So,
And I
Shivani, what are
thoroughly
we
enjoy.
hearing next? What are we hearing next for
Sorry?
you? What are we
Okay,
hearing
so
next?
yeah, so I think now that you mentioned Khazana, so there was this one ghazal that Dad had composed for me, especially when I had performed in Khazana. So I would
Okay.
like to just sing a few couplets from that ghazal.
Yeah,
इस गजल
absolutely.
के शायर हैं कैसरुल जाफरी, and Dad has composed it. And this was specially composed for Khazana when I had performed. So that's a
Okay.
very beautiful
Lovely.
memory of mine. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very apt for today's times because the words are वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे जिंदगी हम भी मुलाकात करेंगे तुझसे. So waiting for all this to get over so that we can get back to our lives. वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे जिंदगी हम भी मुलाकात करेंगे तुझसे वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे. जब भी मिलते हैं यही सोच के रह जाते हैं जब भी मिलते हैं यही सोच के रह जाते हैं जब भी मिलते हैं यही सोच के रह जाते हैं फिर कभी फिर कभी शिकवाए हालात करेंगे तुझसे फिर कभी शिकवाए हालात करेंगे तुझसे जिंदगी हम भी मुलाकात करेंगे तुझसे वक्त आ जाने तो दे बात करेंगे तुझसे
Beautiful. Absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you
मैं
so much.
आपको जो I'm watching you sing and I'm मैं कभी-कभी सोचती हूँ कि जो सांस लेती हो आप और जैसे आप गा रही हो so effortlessly जैसे जैसे कोई बात कर रहा है you're singing like that.
This is
It's
God's grace.
amazing. So
Thank you.
I'm going to actually read out some of the comments that have come here. Very sweet. I think my colleague will show it up here. But there is Satyam Anandji. I guess you know the
Mhm.
person. So he says hello everyone, and then he says hello Somni. Shridhara, Paul G. मेरे को G मत बोलो यार. And then Shivani Vaswani Ji. And then, of course, he also put a message saying beautiful singing. Then
Thank
I
you.
think there was one from Minakshi ji, and that's very sweet. She gave you two roses. Then there is Sangeeta Bhatia who says love from Geet. Is
Oh,
that someone known to you again? Um,
yeah. My friend's
okay.
daughter.
Okay. Then Chandan
Geet is a
Shah says
daughter.
beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Meera Parekh says beautiful again.
Thank
And then we again had Sangeeta Bhatia says from Geet, I love you. How sweet. Then Meera Parekh says wow. Madhuri Tejpal says beautiful. And
Thank you.
I completely agree with you, Trishna. Yes, absolutely soulful. So yeah, these are
Thank
all the
you.
comments, and it's so sweet that people take the time and effort to put comments.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Before
Thank
we
you.
go, Shivani, you were going to send perform like a up tempo song. So let's hear.
Yes, it's a prayer to Jhulelal that Lal Meri Path Rakje Bhala. So, and I would like to add, another beautiful verse from the Gurbani. So I'll be keeping my hand on my head because I don't have a dupatta. So whenever we sing Gurbani, we have to cover our heads.
Yes.
So I'll be singing, and it's one of the most beautiful and divine couplets in the Gurbani. So Aval Allah Noor Upaya Kudrat ke sab bande. I get goosebumps every time I say that. एक नूर ते सब जग उपजाया कौन भले को मंदे. So I
All
will
right.
start with that and I will.
Before you start, I also want to read another message by Harcharan Kahan. He says, "We love you, Shivani Beta."
Thank you so much.
All right, let's go.
Yes. अवल अला नूर पाया कुदरत के सब बंदे अवल अला नूर पाया कुदरत के सब बंदे एक नूर ते सब जग उपजया कौन भले को मंदे सब में सच्चाई को सोई तिसका किया सब कुछ होई सब में सच्चाई को सोई तिसका किया सब कुछ होई हुक्म पहचाने सोए को जाने बंदा कहिए सोए हो लाल मुंजी पत रख जे भला झूले लालन हो लाल मुंजी पत रख जे भला झूले लालन सिंधड़ी जा सेवण जा सिंधड़ी जा सेवण जा सफी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर सफी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम दे अंदर हो लाल मुझे हो लाल मुझे हो चार चराग तुझा बरन हमेशा हो चार चराग तुझा बरन हमेशा चार चराग तुझा बरन हमेशा हो पंजो बारण आया भला झूले लालन हो पंजो बारण हो पंजुमा बारण मैया भला झूले लालन सिंधड़ी जा सेवण जा सिंधड़ी जा सेवण जा सफी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर सफी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर सफी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर सफी शाबाश कलंदर Thank you.
That was so gorgeous. It's the first time I'm hearing it in Sindhi. I didn't understand a word of what you sang, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a prayer actually to Lal Sai to keep us, in his protection. Yeah.
Right.
And I just actually, while I was singing the Gurubani, I actually broke down, because I could feel the power of those words. And I just kind of managed to complete it. Yeah.
You sound like a very spiritual person, Shivani. Is that something, or music makes you do that?
Actually, music definitely has made me that. And I practice. I do a lot of spiritual work with myself, and I also facilitate a lot of workshops and healing and all of that. So yes, I am onto the path.
Well, I
So
think
which
right now is a time where everybody needs it. So, if I think you should really reach out to more people, maybe reach out to more corporates, because all of us are going mad working from home. So I think we need some spiritual guidance and some way for us to kind of, just calm our
definitely,
souls.
definitely, I'm all here. I mean, I would really, through your medium, I would like to invite people to reach out, and I'm definitely there to support in these times.
Superb. More power to you, Shivani, and beautiful voice again. Thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you so much, Somini, and thank you for, giving us a chance to,
Not at all.
come onto your platform and reach out to so many people. Thank
Absolutely,
you.
more than happy to do that. As I always say, we couldn't do this if you guys wouldn't come on board. So it's a win-win situation. But before I leave, I would like to say, guys, stay masked up. Please keep your hands sanitized. Do not step out if you don't need to. And yes, get yourself vaccinated. So go and book that appointment as soon as you can. We all need to be vaccinated so that we can all get back to our normal lives. And we can have more artists like Shivani and the others performing for us live. They can take the energy from us. And that's what we need. We've got to make the world going round again. So
Yes.
take care, Shivani, and thank you so much again.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you all for joining in, and thank you so much.
Bye.